Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. And today we're going to get into the GM and the coaches. But as far as the coaches, we're just going to kind of keep it to the coordinators and the head coach. We're not going to go with every position coach. So let's start off with the GM. Omar Khan, in his going into his second year. Um, Big props. I mean, he's being aggressive. He's really, I've heard the term a lot of saying this is not your grandfather's Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're absolutely right. I mean, he's really being aggressive. He's making moves that, at least in my lifetime of being a Steeler fan, I've never seen the Steelers be this aggressive and make moves that times you would always say, well, man, I wish the Steelers would do that. But yeah, we already know that's not going to happen. Well, now those moves are happening. I mean, being aggressive and bringing in Russell Wilson, being aggressive, bringing in Justin Fields. I mean, so this is definitely not your grandfather's Steelers. Um, Omar is really, I mean, he's hit the ground running. Um, I have no complaints. I'm really excited, about um the way he's handling this team, and he's trying to give Coach Tomlin the best players that he can have to go out and compete. And that's all that, from a GM, that's what you want from your GM. You want to be able to get all those players that you can get, and then it's up to it's up to your coach, your coaching staff to get that talent out of them. But he's doing his part. I would say if the Steelers have a pretty decent year, I already can say that he's going to be GM of the year. But with that said, it was a lot of things that he had to kind of come in and fix. And like this is something that I would say that's not typical like the Steelers. I mean, he's basically and got rid of the last 3 out of 4 number one draft picks that the previous GM selected. He's got rid of them. Especially, getting rid of Kenny Pickett after 2 years. I mean, that's definitely not the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers would give that guy, his full contract basically to see if he's gonna, make this work or not. But not with these new Steelers. It ain't gonna be about, what round you were drafted in and you're gonna hang around and they're gonna give you every opportunity. No, not now. And I just think that's just how football is now. I mean, if you want to win, um, these contracts are kind of made in a way that, especially with young rookie guys, that they're making these contracts now that they can get out of them after a few years if they um, see that you're not going to develop or you're not developing fast enough. Unfortunately, that's just the way the game is now. It's no more that sitting on the bench. I mean, they maybe give you 1 year to kind of sit around on the bench, but after that, you have to get on that field and show your worth. But especially from the quarterback position, it's just no more that we're gonna wait and see and get this guy time. It's about doing it right now. So, um, no complaints with Omar Khan. I think he's one of the top GMs right now. He's definitely moving into that category because this guy is making moves. He's keeping people on their toes, and I think the Steelers probably have one more big move left this offseason. I definitely can see them in the draft moving up if it's a guy that they think that they like. I can see the Steelers maybe making a deal to move up a couple of slots to nab somebody that I think they maybe really like a lot. So just keep your seatbelt buckled because this is going to be a wild ride. Now going into the coaches, well, we'll go to the defensive side this time. Terrell Austin, I mean, really, again, no complaints. Even though I mean, he's a defensive coordinator, but I think him and Coach Tomlin kind of share that role. Not to say that he's not game planning and all that, but I know Coach Tomlin has a big hand on the defense. So it seems like those guys got a good working relationship, and I don't see nothing that's going to change. They pretty much came up with a system that they like, and I think now, especially with getting Patrick Queen in here, that's going to, that's kind of giving them that type guy that they've been wanting on that defense and that linebacker core. So I don't really see no changes there. I just see some better play, and like I say, though, those guys on that side of the ball, they love coach, and um, no issues there. Um, and I can see the Steelers being a top 5 defense this year. They still got to get that second cornerback position kind of squared away, and hopefully Jody Porter Jr. takes that next step in his development. Then that defense is going to be rock solid. You got a couple questions up front with the D line, just some younger guys that hopefully, this is their time to step up. But Coach Austin, he's doing a good job, and like I say, Coach Tomlin has a major part on that defense, so they kind of share that responsibility, I think. But it's nothing wrong with that. Like I say, he's probably doing a lot of the game planning or whatever, but it's a good working system they have over there. So that side of the ball is pretty solid. No issues there. On the offensive side, Arthur Smith, I think what I like about it is now you actually have I'm going to call it, I mean, even though he's the offensive coordinator, I'm going to really say he's the head coach of the offense. And what I mean by that is I think now Coach Tomlin really doesn't have to worry about the offense so much. I mean, I'm quite sure come game days, it's some decisions that the head coach had to make as far as if you're gonna go forward or whatever. But I just think as far as running the offense, he don't even have to even worry about that. I think now you have a head coach, a guy with head coach experience, and like I said, I think he's the head coach of the offense. I think he carries a little weight, which is good because you do have some young guys. You do have some young guys on that side of the ball, and I think they needed that. I mean, it was just a bad situation last year with Coach Canada. I'm quite sure at some point those guys kind of knew he was going to get fired or wanted him to get fired, so they probably wasn't really giving him the respect or really listening to him. So that was just a whole mess, and we're going to get into that when I talk about Coach Tomlin a little bit. Um, but I think now you have a offensive coordinator that really going to have control of that side of the ball. He's well established. We they're bringing in a couple of guys that played under him, so those guys will be able to show some of these younger guys well, this is what Coach expects from you. With Cordell Patterson, Van Jefferson. They were down in Atlanta with Coach Smith. So, like I say, I think from that side of the ball, you finally got a professional offensive coordinator that's gonna demand those guys respect, and it won't just be that crap last year. You can feel like you can go into a game and actually have a chance to succeed, and that's all those guys want. Just like, you know, yeah, like people want to talk about Pickens, and I know, yeah, he's still a little bit immature, but at the end of the day, those guys want the ball, and not saying it in a selfish way. They just want to know that, hey, man, we got an opportunity to come out here and compete and look like a professional offense. So with that said, Um, again, I think the coordinating positions are pretty solid. This should be a good year, a good year offense and defensive league. So we'll see what's going on. Then now let's go to Coach Tomlin. Coach Tomlin, I know at the end of the year he was probably a little shaky with a lot of the fans, and people kind of calling for his head, and it's time for him to get out of here. And I'm gonna be honest, I was like, and I'm not a Coach Tomlin basher, but I was kind of like one of those guys that I thought like, you know what, maybe it is time for Coach to step down, and just to change the scenery. I don't think it was nothing that he lost it or didn't want to coach anymore. I just thought, maybe it was just time for a change of scenery. But I think now with getting a better GM in there, which is kind of taking some of that pressure off of them. Um, Now you got an offensive coordinator that, like I say, that side of the ball, he really doesn't have to concentrate on it as much as he probably did the last few years. And just making these moves and bringing in, you got a GM that's bringing you in better players. You got a quarterback that I think now you got confidence in. So I think his engines and got riled up, and he's probably really ready to get on the field and get these guys on the field, and see what he's working with. So from that, other than that, I mean, I think Coach Tomlin is just he's a loyal guy. And I think sometimes what people don't really understand, from fan standpoint, probably from the media too. You're looking at a coach and you're saying, like, even with that Matt Canada situation, like, why are you not firing this guy? This guy is terrible. And to be honest, Coach Tomlin seen that, and part of it be pride, part of it be your pride that hey, I hired this guy, and maybe we make this move, make that move, he can kind of straighten out. But also, you got to remember these guys are human too. So I mean, that's your friend, that's your these guys spend a lot of time together, a lot of hours together. I mean, they probably spend more time with each other than they probably with their family, during the football season. So I think that'd be part of it. You just it's probably not easy to fire a guy because like I said, that's his livelihood. And like I said, from the fan standpoint, we don't care. Hey, he make more money than 99% of us is making. He'll be all right. But I just think in that coaching fraternity, sometimes you had that loyalness. But I think what happened, it kind of went a little bit too far, and coach probably should have got rid of him a year ago. But regardless, that's done and over with. I think right now you probably got a top three coach, if not the number one coach in the league. The one thing that I do like now, players want to play for Mike Tomlin, and now the Steelers are being aggressive in getting those players. Where before, it's a lot of guys that wanted to play for him, but it was never no shot for them to be signed by the Steelers. But I think now, um, he's starting to get some of those players that want to play for him. I see how coach work. I mean, he go and make friends and get to liking some of the younger guys, and he probably get to talk to those guys during the draft process, knowing that some of those guys going to be free agents, and then what end up happening when those guys do make it to free agency, they want to come play for him. So it, the Steelers will always be in the running for any free agent that's out there. The Steelers are in the running for them. I mean, other than if it comes to crazy money, but as far as a guy wanting to be here and play for Coach Tomlin, is they got that guy. So with that said, I think that's pretty much it, and we're gonna start concentrating a little bit more on the draft now. Again, I think the Steelers from a coaching standpoint and from a uh, uh, front office, I think everything that the needle is pointing up. So again, hey, we're just gonna sit back and enjoy this ride, and I think everything's gonna be fine this year. So with that said, everybody take care, enjoy your Easter, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye bye.